Hey folks, just wanted to walk through a couple of examples from this Delta Math assignment so that when you get into it, hopefully it will help you as you're completing it. So you get two different question types here. We have transformations of functions discovery and then just regular transformations of functions. So first type here kind of helps to walk us step by step through these different types of transformations. So transform the solid black function to match the dotted function. So this is what we started with, this black function right here. And we're not told exactly what this function is, but we just have the picture of it. And then this here is our transformed function, okay? And we want to modify this so that it matches this dotted function here. And we have these different things we can play with. We can change this in front to either be a positive or negative. We can change this in front of this x to either be positive or negative. We can add something here, and remember you can add a negative if you want this to really be like a minus. And the same thing here, we're adding a number here, and this can be a negative number as well. And as we do these different things, it will actually perform that transformation for us. So we see just by doing that, by changing that to that negative, how much more these shapes now line up. I can see now, okay, my curves in their location match, but they're not right over top of each other. They still need to be moved a little bit. You can see this here, if I'm looking at kind of this peak, looks like it needs to get moved over to this spot here, which if I'm looking on my graph here is about negative 5.5, and here is about negative 7.5. So that tells me I want to move this whole thing to the left, probably 2. I know this number in here moves to the left, and when it's plus, it moves left. So let me try moving this plus 2. Click out here so it'll do that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then we can see that it wants to go down. Again, it looks like I'm about probably 7.5 high for this point here. This point here then is probably about 3.5 high. So if I think of that, 7.5 to 3.5 looks like that's down about 4. This part here, remember, moves my graph up and down. But down here, I want to have it minus. Well, it's already got the plus, so what I have to do is make that a negative 4. Click off so it will do that, and moved it. Okay, so I've got it over top. It tells me this is correct. You may now press submit. I'm sure, yes, you already told me it's correct. I do. Okay, and it kind of verifies this for us here, gives us that original. Okay, so that was my f of x, and we modified it or transformed it by putting the negative in front, plus 2, and then minus 4. And it still kind of walked through those different transformations there. Okay, so this is just kind of meant to help kind of walk you through step by step on these. So that's the first type. The second type here, all right, okay, similar. We still have our function in black, and then we have our dotted function, okay? Difference here is they're not going to give us that little bit where we can just step through it piece by piece. They're going to give us 4 choices, and we need to figure out which one is that. So hopefully from the previous thing, we kind of saw, oh, okay, this is how this changes that piece, and now can look at these functions and identify which one would represent the transformation. Again, here, I kind of look at a specific spot. All right, I'll kind of try and pick this point up here on this one. All right, it would apply for any point along this graph, but usually these peaks or valleys make it a little easier for us. So if I look this here, this peak looks like it's at negative 6. This peak here looks like negative 7. And I guess even going back from that, this one, whereas our previous example, we had to do that negative in front because it flipped. Notice none of these even have a negative in front. And if we look here, all of these peaks and valleys already match up. So there's no flipping we have to do here. So negative 6, this one's at negative 7. So it looks like we go left 1. We saw in the previous that means this is plus 1 on this inside. So that means I'm looking at either this here or this here. Okay. And then from there, this goes from 0 on my up and out on my y-axis. This is 0. And this is, looks like -4. So it went down 4. Well, down 4 on that up-down on the y-axis, we know is -4. So that would be one of these two on the right. Well, we already crossed out this one because of this -1. So our answer is this right here. All right. Hopefully that helps as you are working through this assignment.